I want to share with you some truly concerning news that reveals the shocking contradictions in the Trump administration's immigration policies. The US government is turning its back on immigrants desperately in need of protection, including Afghans who risked everything for our country, yet rolling out the welcome mat for a group that probably won't register in your mind as necessarily in need of immediate refuge. I'm going to break this down for you so you'll understand the current immigration context we're confronted with. And we're starting right now. I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country secure their future in America through asylum. Let me know in the comments if you've got an asylum case pending or are considering applying. I'd especially like to hear from you if you've been waiting for an asylum interview for multiple years. Let me know how long you've been waiting. So here's what's happening. On the very same day that dozens of white South Africans arrived in the United States as refugees, at the direct invitation of President Trump himself, his administration announced that thousands of Afghans could be deported starting this summer. A special program that has provided protection for Afghans, including many who supported US forces and were brought here after the Taliban retook power in Kabul, is ending, putting many of these people at grave risk. This stark contrast perfectly illustrates the extraordinary contradictions we're seeing in current immigration policies. What makes this situation particularly troubling is that the administration has carved out a specific exception for white Afrikaners, while effectively banning most other refugees and targeting both legal and illegal immigrants for deportation. Among those being targeted are Afghans, who were granted temporary protected status after the United States withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021, many of whom literally risked their lives to help American forces during the war. By the way, if you want to maximize your chances for asylum success, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and bell notification so you don't miss the insights that I share on this channel. Okay, let's look closer what's happening here. The Trump administration went so far as to charter a jet, paid for with American tax dollars, to bring in dozens of Afrikaners who claim they face racial discrimination in South Africa. These are members of an ethnic minority that held power during the apartheid era. It bears pointing out here that normally, when refugees are brought to the United States, it's on their own dime. Most of them take out a loan that they have to repay. They're not coming here at the US government's expense like these South Africans are. Okay, so, at the same time, the administration has suspended refugee resettlement across the board through one of its first executive orders. This means no one else is being brought here through our refugee program, only these white South Africans. This selective approach raises serious questions about who is considered the right kind of immigrant. The New York Times, in an excellent analysis piece on this topic, quotes Christopher Landau, the Deputy Secretary of State who greeted these Afrikaner refugees, as telling reporters the South Africans had been carefully vetted and could be assimilated easily into our country. When questioned about why Afghans were losing their legal status while South Africans were being welcomed, he suggested that Afghans hadn't undergone sufficient background checks. During my time working for the government's two main agencies for asylum and refugee matters, I adjudicated thousands of immigration applications. I can tell you with confidence that the vetting process for all people here with legal immigration status is thorough. Pretty much all of these Afghans have applied for either TPS or for asylum, if not other forms of status, all of which entail thorough security checks. So, this suggestion that they might not be carefully vetted is disingenuous. The Trump administration has claimed that temporary protected status for Afghans is being terminated because, quote, the country's improved security situation and its stabilizing economy no longer prevent them from returning to their home country. But I can't stress enough how this contradicts what experts are saying about the situation on the ground in Afghanistan. A 2023 United Nations report documented at least 800 human rights violations against former officials and armed forces members who served under the US-backed government that fell to the Taliban. These abuses included extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances, arbitrary arrests, torture, and various forms of threats. The report found that former Afghan army members were at greatest risk, followed by national and local police officers and people who worked in the former government's security directorate. These are precisely the people who helped American forces during the war. And I can tell you from my experience both as an asylum officer and now as an asylum lawyer that really anyone who might even be associated with a person who supported Western forces in Afghanistan is at risk of retribution from the Taliban. Meanwhile, the administration has claimed that white South African farmers are victims of a genocide, despite police statistics showing they are not more vulnerable to violent crime than other groups in the country. 3 decades after the end of apartheid, white South Africans continue to dominate land ownership, are employed at much higher rates than black South Africans, and are much less likely to live in poverty. To suggest they are victims of genocide defies credibility. It's a ridiculous claim. Now, I want to be clear about something here. I've personally spent time in South Africa. I've been there on a couple of occasions, including studying there for a semester during law school. I can attest that, yes, there is racism against white people and discrimination as well. In fact, my law firm represents white South Africans in asylum claims based on race. So, I'm not trying to minimize these problems or suggest that there aren't real issues there, but I can tell you that the general environment is completely different from the context in which clients from many other countries find themselves. We see conditions approaching or indeed constituting actual genocide going on in other countries, yet the Trump administration is shutting these people out by crushing our refugee program. It's just hypocritical, unfair, unjust, and immoral to shut these people out when you're going out of your way to bring in this particular group. P. Deep Gulasekaram, an immigration law professor, has pointed out, these exceptions for white Afrikaners, quote, overtly advances a narrative of global persecution of whites, end quote, while other genuinely vulnerable groups are kept out. Sean Van Diver, president of the group Afghan Evac, put it bluntly, what the administration has done today is betray people who risked their lives for America, built lives here and believed in our promises. Now look, I know this news, combined with the reports of massive shows of force in removal efforts designed to intimidate people, and all the other anti-immigrant actions the Trump administration has taken early in its second term, is tough to take in. We're in a bizarre place. And it's all kind of daunting and scary for many immigrants, asylum seekers chief among them. The current immigration landscape can feel overwhelming and even hopeless at times, but despite all this, there is still hope. I need you to know that my law firm continues winning cases, and we've won a lot of cases lately. It seems like almost every day we're receiving asylum approvals, including for difficult cases where we had to bring clever arguments, lots of hard work, and tons of preparation to bear in presenting the strongest case possible for our clients. One of the things we've come to understand that is absolutely crucial, indeed the most helpful thing you can do, is preparing for your asylum interview with a mock interview. This is a service we offer to all of our clients, and I believe it's truly the key to asylum success ahead of your actual asylum interview with USCIS. During these mock interviews, we recreate the exact conditions you'll face on the day of your real interview. We ask the tough questions an officer might ask, we practice responding to credibility challenges, and we help you understand how to articulate your case clearly and persuasively. This preparation makes an enormous difference in outcomes. When you've already experienced the pressure of an interview environment and practiced your responses, you'll walk into your real interview with confidence and clarity. If you're ready to take the next step and get help with your asylum case, call my office today. That number is 713-909-0401. Remember, we help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you live. Call us now to schedule an Asylum Strategy Session so we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your asylum journey.